Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. I'd like to share with you another update. We have the cab and the doors to the 1950 Ford F47 pickup truck, and we're making lots of progress and things are going quite well. So we have done quite a bit of work to the outside of the doors, and so now what we're doing is we've the last couple of days been working on the inside of the doors. So now that we have them laying down basically upside down, this is the inside of the passenger door of the Ford F47, and obviously this is the driver's door. So earlier on, when we were doing the basic inspection on the truck before we took it apart, we noticed there was lots of body damage and dents and surface rust trapped under the layers of paint, and there's numerous layers of paint and body filler on these doors. So once we had them stripped down, we tried to hammer and dolly and repair as much of the metal as we could to bring it as flush as possible. And now you can see it's coming along quite well. These are all where there's small little imperfections or dings or dents. So we brought them as close as we could, and now we rely on this smoother and high build primer, and we work on it in different layers of grit until we remove all of the waves and dents. And along the bottom we had to do a repair. Along the bottom of the door it was rotted out, and there was some questionable patches that were done. So we cut out the bad spots, we welded in new metal, and now we're doing the smoothing so that there'll be a nice transition between the old and the new. And then where the door skin folds over, it's all natural and normal, so it looks just like it did from the factory. There's quite a bit of damage in here and a lot of rust. So we've hammer and dollied all of these sections, and we've got some smoother in there. So these are now ready for it. This is going to be the third layer or third coat of a gray high build primer, and then we'll continue to sand it with a finer grit, and then most of the imperfections should be gone very shortly. And then same idea with this other door. This is the driver's door of the 1950 Ford. Didn't need as much work along the bottom here, but it did require some metal work around the corner, and in this section here there was quite a bit of rust and corrosion, and it was pitted quite badly. So we cut it out and welded in new steel, and now you can see quite a few more dents and dings along this side, which makes sense because that's the driver's side where we get majority of the use, and work boots and so on hitting the door. So once again we've done quite a bit of work to the sides where there was damage and dings, so it's coming along quite nicely. We haven't lost any of the lines, so there's factory grooves that go across the door, and we haven't affected it at all, so it's still going to look really nice. So it's ready for another coat of the or a couple coats of the high build gray primer. And then the cab is coming along extremely well. This is almost near the end of its block sanding. So excuse me, what we have done now is we've gone through a bunch of different grits and layers of high build primer, and we've just finished sanding it all at 320 grit. So now there's only one more to go, which is 400, and that'll be our final preparation, and it'll be ready for paint. So what you see here, this light colored stuff, is a light spot putty, and there's barely any on there, but it's enough. Just there's minor little like scratches almost from block sanding. So what we're doing is just making sure that we don't have any issues with any of the sections. The roof turned out really nice, the firewall and so on. And then if I turn this a little bit here, these dollies are really handy. So we can see on the back there was excessive damage, I would say, at the very beginning, and then we're getting closer and closer, and there was just fine little scratches once again. The bed is going to come somewhere in this area, so we want to make sure. A lot of guys just leave this whole back area and don't even paint it, but we want to make sure that there's no issues with it and it looks nice, and we're going to paint the whole cab correctly. So this is really minor here. Hard to see in the camera, hard to tell, but there's barely any product on there, and that's just a really light spot putty. And then we've got a few little flaws near the end around this section here too. So now that we have all that sanded at 320 grit, What we'll do is we'll wash this, wipe this down. We'll spray the gray high build primer again, a couple of different coats or 2 coats, and then we'll do our final 400 block sanding, and it will be ready for its paint finish. So just a quick update. This is the 1950 Ford F47 pickup. I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.